We got today, Sizzle. Who we got today?
So we have friend to the show, Mr. Kamari Ellis. He's an investment and tax advisor with over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. So he is a Black wealth advocate, TU alum.
TU.
Yes, TU always in the building.
Hashtag TU.
Always in the building. He majored in finance, and he loves everything that is business, stock market, and social media related. Welcome to the show, Kamari Ellis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show, my brother. Welcome to the show, man. So, you know what? We're going to jump right into it, man, because, I'm going to dedicate the last 20 minutes of this show to you. First thing, I'm going to jump into pretty much what you do, and I just want to commend you because you got a lot of outlet, a lot of kind of like supporting some of the things that you've been doing, man, but not only from you educating with, your financial freedom, right, and financial literacy, but also kind of like, the real political views that you jump into. And we're going to try to address some of them things, man, especially as it relate to our people. Right.
Oh boy.
I know, right?
So I better strap up.
All day, right? And so let's jump right into like what got you into being focused on just kind of like financial literacy and just monies,
It all starts with our people.
Right.
At one point, I believed that money was our biggest problem. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that anymore.
Okay.
But I'm still fascinated in the business. I'm still fascinated in the stock market. I'm fascinated with all things business because I feel it's like an art. To a certain regards. Right. I mean, when you look at a guy like Elon Musk or even Facebook, Zuckerberg, what they did was create art. They took an idea and they manifested it and make it real. Now, there's a whole lot of in-betweens and ups and downs in that and some shadiness, too. But at the end of the day, it still came to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay. So think about, when you're talking about, people, especially our people being scared, right? Because a lot of them, you hear this all the time. People are scared to invest, especially like Black people. You know what I'm saying? I'd say our people. You know what I'm saying? But it seems that we're scared to invest, scared to, put that extra money into something that might help us in the long run. You know what I mean? So why do you think that is?
There's a lot of reasons.
Okay.
I got about 5,000 of them, right? So every day, so part of the reason why I call myself the financial rebel, right, is because I feel like we have to rebel against the traditional finance and economic system that we're in to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. So about every day, 5,000 ads are pumped into the brains of people in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so we're always given this message that we have to spend. Right. And then when you add that on top of the history, the convoluted and politically ravaged history of Black people in this country, it creates even more havoc. And so part of the reason why Black people don't like to invest is because inherently most of us don't have a trust in the systems in this country. Well, really around the world, but we're talking about in this country. Right. We have a lack of trust for the most part. And so that's why it becomes really hard to get people to invest, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And we like things that we can touch. We love real estate,
right.
But, one of the biggest wealth creation tools that have ever existed is the stock market. Mm-hmm. And we tend to shy away from it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think admittedly, I believe that, I believe we have a reason to sometimes. I mean, if you talk about generational wealth, right, we don't necessarily have that, right? In historically, we don't.
From a financial sense.
From a financial, right.
Yeah.
And so if you hear all of these, I guess it has a lot to do with the lack of how can I put it, like information regarding the stock market. But if you believe, or if you hear that, if you put this nice, nest egg in the stocks and you could potentially lose everything, you don't think they have a little kind of like reason to be nervous about that?
Oh, well, I study the markets, heavy. So, right. I'm biased, admittedly. So usually every time there's a major crash or correction, it bounces back. But at the same time, you could say the same thing about the real estate market. before 2008, everybody said real estate's safe. It's never going to go down. They're not making any more real estate. They're not making any more land. And what happened? They got mollywopped. They got smacked and then fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So it's any asset that has people involved can go up and down in price. And I mean, I like them all. I like real estate. I like stock. My friends make fun of me because they say I don't like real estate, and it's not that. I tell people I'm lazy. I don't want to do a whole bunch of work because I managed real estate before, and it can be very difficult.
I'm sure. Now let's jump right into, that the fact that we talk about banking black, right? That has been a huge discussion lately, like banking black, and especially when that big situation happened, and everybody like you need to put your money and invest into like a black bank. What was your thoughts on that? Because you had some really interesting thoughts on that.
So it's hard for me, right?
Right.
Because all the stuff they say you should do is stuff I've been doing.
Right.
So shout out to United Bank, which is the bank here in Philadelphia, which is the black-owned bank started by Emmett Chappelle many years ago. Still in existence now. Right. But I do stuff with the bank, with that bank. I've had events at that bank. I send customers and advocate for that bank, because a lot of people still don't know that there is a black bank in Philadelphia.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And so when you read the newspapers and you see Wells Fargo this and all these other companies doing that with live day redlining, and I don't want to go too back in redlining because I know we ain't got that much time, but that's something that they use to basically keep black people down from a government standpoint, and it's still going on to this day. So at least if you go to a black bank, you have a better chance of getting favorable interest rates and actually getting a loan. Banks are actually the cornerstone of any productive community. I mean, anybody that's doing something major financially in this company has some kind of bank. Koreans, Jews, some kind of credit unions with the Italians. It's across the board. We all have banks, or they all have banks.
Interesting.
So it's definitely very important, and it's important because, again, not to bore everybody, but the way the Federal Reserve is set up, you can put $1 million in the bank, but you can get more back from the Federal Reserve, which gives the banks more power to lend. So that's more economic power that comes back into our communities.
Interesting. So what would you tell a community of people of color to start investing back in the community? How should they start that?
That's a hard one, right? But cash is always going to be king.
Right.
I see these memes running around talking about credit's better than cash, and I just want to pull all my hair out, and I don't have any more. But listen, cash is always going to be king, right? So the more cash we got, right, if everybody in this room pull together, put up $1 a piece every week for 5 years, we could take that money and go invest in a block. They got buy back the block. Right. If you got cash, you can go do that. And that was just hypothetical, but there's so many things you can do with cash. So we can start pulling our cash, the better off we can be. We'll have the flexibility, and we won't be beholden to anybody to say, hey, I want to cut that credit line. But when you got your cash, they can't cut your cash. Your cash is your cash.
Interesting. I'm gonna stop right there and just back up a little bit because this just popped in my head. Let's jump in. Let's talk about Bitcoin real quick because you were talking about
Lord.
I know investments in
the Bitcoin. There's a Bitcoin hive, man. You won't have them after me. They already hate me.
That's funny because the funny thing is you had somebody like a Kanye West that was talking a lot about what you should invest in, you know what I mean, and what he wished that he could have invested in, you know what I mean, and a lot of it is about something that's free from, I guess, government control, and I think a lot of Bitcoin has that idea that is independently ran, is run by the people, made by the people, the government can't get it. And so what's your position on, because you took a position pretty much about the Bitcoin hive, so what's your position or defense, should I say, when it comes to Bitcoin versus regular banking,
In terms of investing?
Yes.
So for the record, Bitcoin is kind of been bastardized a little bit, right? So Bitcoin started out as a way to pay people without government influence. Right. And I get that. But now it's become an investment vehicle. They're two different things. So now people are talking about Bitcoin as also a currency. And And so in order to be a currency, it has to be a store of value, and it has to be openly accepted by a lot of people. You can't go around and use Bitcoin to buy glasses like you have on the shirt that you have on here in Philadelphia. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but it's not widely accepted. So if it were me, I would put my money in cash. Now, I own like $20 in Bitcoin. This is a test, just to look at it. Because you know me, we've been friends for years, and I talk trash and fun, right? And so I was telling everybody not to buy Bitcoin, and not because I hate Bitcoin, because the people that are asking to buy Bitcoin are not qualified to buy Bitcoin. So I'll get a question like, Kamari.
What do you mean by that, real quick?
I'm coming. I get questions all the time, so I do a segment called Ask Kamari, where people can ask me any financial question they want. So they say, Kamari, I have $500, and I want to invest in Bitcoin. Okay, great. What's your savings look like? Well, I got some savings. I got plenty of savings. Can you stand 2 months without any salary, any pay? No, I cannot. Then you don't need to buy Bitcoin. So people don't have their priorities set up right, and they want to go buy Bitcoin.
That's deep.
And so even before the Bitcoin crash, right, because Bitcoin ran up to almost $20,000, and then now it's like $8,000 or $9,000. So, and that's in a 2 to 3 month span. So can you really afford to have your money acting like a roller coaster at any point in time? You need your money. You got to buy bills. You got to do this and that. You need it for your kids. You can't afford the fluctuations that Bitcoin is experiencing right now. So I would say, to answer your question, to put a stamp on it, I would invest my money in cash in the bank.
Right. So would you consider gold cash or gold?
Gold is gold, but some people look at gold too. Right. But gold is more established than Bitcoin, right? If you go anywhere, and I get razzled by what they call the gold bugs too, right? Because there are a lot of people that like gold. Here's a quick story for you. Had a guy had about $500,000 in his 401k, left his job, took the $500,000 out, bought gold. This was when gold was almost up to, what was it? This was 7 years ago. So almost about $5,000 an ounce. Took it out, got tax crazy, and then it went down. He lost all his money because that was fear. And what happens is you have all these salespeople, right? Stockbrokers are salespeople, right? Just keep that in mind. Financial planners are salespeople. Financial advisors are salespeople. And I'm throwing myself in that lot too. They're all salespeople. And some of them, not all salespeople are bad, but some of them only care about getting their commission. So they hype all these people up, and they defraud them of their money at the end of the day. And nobody's thinking about that. Me, and I take the hit for this, right? I'm saying, hey, you're going to need this money, and the way the outcome is looking right now, it's not going to be that great. And so I'm choosing education, pure education, over getting a commission in my pocket.
Interesting, yeah. And I give you kudos for that, because you do, and you've been educating for a long time. So I'm gonna fast forward. I'm gonna fast forward now, because I just wanted to jump on that Bitcoin thing, because that was a big deal, and that was a huge conversation. Now, let's talk a little bit about boycotting, especially when in the black community, and I think we spoke about that just a little bit. What's your take on, when they say that black people should, boycott, when something happens, we should boycott? What's your, I want you to really dig a little deep into that, because,
How much time we got?
About 10 minutes.
We gotta unpack that one.
5
right?
minutes.
We gotta unpack that one.
Yeah.
So shout out to our ancestors and our elders who boycotted. Yeah. It paved the way for a lot of things that we have credit for now. Right. And I got to give a little context on this to do it justice. I've seen a lot of goofy posts and a lot of goofy memes about Dr. King this and Dr. King that, but people don't realize that Dr. King forced us to have mobility, right? So we probably couldn't be in a building like this right now, or use Facebook, or use Instagram, or travel around the globe if him and the other people besides him didn't fight for that right. Right. So now fast forward 50 years or whatever, how many years it is since he's passed. And now people are saying, well, don't boycott, don't protest. So I say there's a caveat to that. You do sometimes and sometimes you don't. But there should always be a plan. So when you look at Starbucks, when you look at H&M, when you look at Dove, all these corporate entities that just have been blatantly disrespecting us. I mean, you would think that our natural response would already be to support those who look like us and support our community anyway. But that's not the case. I'm a lifelong Dove user because I have sensitive skin. But I had to make a choice. I'm going to go find other black soap makers who will cater to sensitive skin, and that's what I've done. And I said, all right, well, that runs over. So for me, it's not a boycott. It's a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle change. Now, I'm not boycotting Starbucks, right? That was an isolated incident, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
And I'm not trying to let Starbucks off the hook because their response was terrible. And that lady in that store has had numerous, right.
Yep.
But here's the thing. What we did to Starbucks didn't amount to anything. It didn't take away any of their sales. They're still an $87 billion company with a B, a capital B. How did any of that money come back to our communities? Right. So when we start moving and we start taking the bullhorn out and showing off for the videos and doing everything like that, who's really benefiting?
So what would be some of the solutions that you would propose then?
Buy black every day. What I got on? All black everything. And I don't say that from a racist standpoint because black people can't be racist anyway, but I say that from a standpoint of empowerment. Every other community supports their own, except for ours. And we have the most problems. That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been proven that a good book for everybody to read is a book called Our Black Year by Maggie Anderson. And she talks about her experiment to buy black all year long. I've interviewed Maggie, read her book, the whole nine, several times. She had a hard time. We're in Philly. Can we find a black supermarket? Can we find a black gas station?
Yeah.
I mean, so our options are also limited in that support as well, but those are things we should naturally have. And then there are a lot of black-owned coffee shops, but how many people actually go and support them?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I salute you for like creating things, like, the early birds where you endorse kind of, this is, going to buy black, like a buy black day or something like that. And I think I think most people get nervous and say, okay, well, black, quote unquote, air quotes, guys, black goods aren't as good as other goods.
Right.
And or the customer service isn't as good as, other people's customer service, right?
Well, that's been disproved, right?
Right.
How many black businesses are calling the police on their customers? I mean, I'm sure it happens, but to this degree. So we had not only the Wildflowers, we had Starbucks.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's been happening a lot lately because people are scared. People are afraid.
Right. So I'm gonna push you a little bit. So I want to know if people are supposed to, if we supposed to, I guess, buy black, invest black, bank black, is it logical to tell people to, say for example, pull all their money out of, say for example, Wells Fargo, if they had a Wells Fargo account, and then invest into like a black bank, and then they go to somewhere like Italy or somewhere else and try to, draw funds and can't establish or do anything like that? Then what would you tell that? What's the workaround? Bitcoin? No. All right, no. What's the workaround?
You can do both.
Okay.
Right, you can do both.
Right.
You can have a Wells Fargo account, but Wells Fargo just got smacked with that $1 billion fine. Personal disclosure: I have my personal accounts at Wells Fargo. But you can do both. You can bank at United Bank, or I think the other big one that's on the rise is United One, which is national online. You can do both. I mean, we still have to be pragmatic, right? Like I've been to Starbucks thousands of times. Right, and been treated well. Right, and again, that's not an endorsement for Starbucks. I go there out of convenience. I go there out of because I can't get to Amalgam or Uncle Bobby's or Franny
Shout out to
Lou's
Uncle Bobby's,
or Franny Lou's or any of the other black-owned coffee shops in the city because they're not close to me.
So would the lifestyle change be? You know what? I'm going to take the little extra block. I'm not going to catch the bus. I'm going to walk 5 or 6 blocks, or I'm going to carpool, or I'm going to do something like that. Because when we talk about our ancestors, right, that's kind of the things that they did. So how could we, really like buckle down and make, some changes like that,
I think one thing everybody can do is find 5 friends that you trust.
Right.
Start pulling your money together.
That's the.
I don't care if it's $10. I don't care if it's $20, $30 a week or a month. Just start doing that. Don't even look to invest it yet. Just start putting it away, and you can go put it in United Bank. Now, United does have some minimums, but you get the point. You can start pulling it, even if you're putting it in their mattresses. Don't tell nobody about it.
Shoe boxes, Nike box, man. I know that's right. Yeah.
And then when the time comes, we can start supporting those who have solid and valid ideas, qualified people to run establishments or to invest in, you know, people to go to college and things like that, you know, start supporting in ourselves.
At the very least, we got to start these dialogues, man, and keep pushing the dream, keep pushing the conversation, because this is where it starts. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming out to the show.
Anytime.
Man.
Thanks for having me.
That time went fast, that quick, man. You know, so why don't you let us know? I almost forgot this. This is a question that I ask all of my guests, man. So I say, you know, you got to dig in your bag, go all the way down in your bag, and let us know one thing that no one else knows about you. And I've known you for a long time. Shout out to FLC in the building.
FLC.
You know,
Bobcat Nation.
I know, right? So tell us one thing that, you know, no one else knows about you that you can let We Talk Weekly know right now, exclusive.
That's a hard one, man.
Yeah,
you got to coach me up on that one. Like what?
Anything. You know, the funny thing, I just did a Bridget Kelly interview, and she called it a Snapple fact. That was interesting to hear, you know, Snapple fact about yourself. It could be a Snapple fact. It could be, you know, pillow talk. It could be one of those deep, dark secrets that had you in a dark place.
No,
you know
I can't share too many of those. The statute of limitations.
Yeah, you gotta go in. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, you got me stumped, brother.
Yeah.
A deep secret. Man, you got me stumped. Fela Kuti is one of my favorite artists.
Who?
Fela Kuti.
Ah. That's the
brother from Nigeria.
Yeah, the African guy.
Yep.
Yeah. They did a big thing down here in Philly. Did you go to that?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
It was like they had it at the convention center, like this big thing about him. That was dope.
Well, they had a show on Broadway about him.
Okay.
Jay-Z and Will Smith helped produce that.
Yeah. That's right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, man. You know, we have, you know, we gonna bring you. Would you come back to the show?
Come on, we brothers, man.
There you go.
Anytime you extend an invite, I'm here.
And so, where can they find you and all the rest of the information and all that old good old stuff?
You can find me online anywhere, the Finance Rebel or Philly Tax Team. Either one, you can find me on all social media.
On all social media. So thanks for coming to the show, my brother. And listen, if y'all haven't tuned in to any of our Facebook stuff, our Instagram, make sure you always tune in, man. This is, we give you all of the great stuff, all of the great interviews, all of the great content, all the great information, get some good news, bad news, the sizzle, and everything else under the above, as I say. So follow us on Spreaker, like us and follow us on the We Talk Weekly Facebook page. Subscribe to our We Talk Weekly YouTube channel. And if you're in Philly, catch us every Monday night, 9:30 on Comcast 66 and Verizon Fiber 29:30. Download the little iThing TV app on Roku and look for We Talk Weekly. Shout out to Afro Philly and MBG Network. We Talk Weekly is syndicated. You can find us in New York, Atlanta, Baltimore, Birmingham, Chicago, Delaware, Houston, Jacksonville, Los Angeles, Miami, Newark, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Philly, and all across the nation. And who do you look for? We Talk Weekly, y'all. Man, it's your boy Charles Greg with the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And we got the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we out here, y'all. Holla!
What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Classy